Okay,
Oh,
finally, we're
wow.
live. Finally, yeah.
Yes.
So sorry. Anybody who is by any chance watching this live, I am so sorry for the delay. We're StreamYard. I messed up a little bit with it technically and stuff like that, and so we've been
A
trying to
little
figure
bit.
it out a little bit. Try to figure out a little bit.
Yeah,
And
we
so,
were
yeah.
we were like we looked like Lego pieces for a second. It looked like
We
we were
literally
promoting
did.
piece by piece.
Yeah, we literally did. It was really interesting. It's had me though. If I figured it out. But yeah, so this probably isn't gonna be extremely long. But I figured just because I didn't enjoy doing the Sao Paulo one so much with Kevin, I figured I might as well just do like another one, with
Yeah.
you. And so let's just get into this. Alrighty, so Kevin, first stuff first, because I already did a whole reaction to it. What are your thoughts on the whole song and stuff like that?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of glad we're doing this video because I feel like when I listen to all the when I watched the concert last week and things like that, I wasn't really as focused on like the new songs like on their own individually. It was kind of just like, okay, this was a really good concert. And I feel like I wasn't able to like fully appreciate some of them. And Dancing in the Flame, we talked about so much on the stream how everyone was saying it was like the highlight of the show and things like that. And I was like, I want to listen to this again because I feel like I enjoyed it, but I don't feel like I really like appreciated it. And the second I did that, I just found myself constantly going back to the song. So when he announced that he was going to actually release it as a single and there was going to be a studio version, I became really excited because I was like, oh my God, if this is what we're going to get in the live version, what's the studio version going to be? And yeah, I mean, I absolutely love this song. I definitely like I understood it then, but especially now listening to it as many times as I have, I really do get that like anthem type feel. This is very much that kind of song where it's like you're going to see this eventually in some kind of movie. You're going to see it as like a montage of something or like an end credit scene. And you really do feel that here. And that's something I think works really well when it comes to that song. But it also kind of feels like, in a way, like a spiritual successor to like Blinding Lights in the sense where like that was such a huge like sort of epic this like very very epic sort of single for him, and this kind of feels like it's him going one step further. Obviously it's a little bit more slowed down, but it kind of has a similar feel to that. And I mean, I just really love it a lot. I think that he does a really good job of taking these very deep and heavy themes, but also having this like really like sort of inspiring beat to it. It kind of also sounds a little bit like Less Than Zero, but also has that own feel of its own. I think the coolest part of the studio version as opposed to the live version, and maybe it's just because I didn't notice it, is the vocoder like in the like code in like the middle of the song or whatever. Literally thought it was Daft Punk for a second. I was like, oh, did Daft Punk just get resurrected just for this one little part of the song? So I thought that was kind of cool. But I think that coupled with like the lyrics and just his incredible vocals, it's exactly the kind of single I look forward to when it comes to the weekend. And I think the more that we get closer to this album, especially now having this single on there, the more pumped I really do become. And I feel like that's what a single is supposed to do. A single, it's kind of like a trailer to a movie where it's like, we know you're excited for this, but let's move the needle that much more to get your excitement. And I feel like Dancing in the Flame is a very satisfying first single. I know I said last week that like Wake Me Up should be the single. No, this absolutely needed to be the first single. And I think it really does capture that feel very well. So very much loved it. I've listened to it a lot today, and I'm excited to listen to it more throughout the weekend. So I think a very, very successful first single overall.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I want to say there's some people in the chat. Thank you all so much for watching.
Yes.
Yeah, no, generally, thank you. I basically agree with every single thing that you just said. I mean, I think the first thing I was really thinking about off the top of my head, because I've listened to this song, Kevin, like so many times. It's a little bit it's a little intense as usual with me and Abel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but one of the things that kind of hit me during it is, as I said during the live stream last week, that like, you know, it kind of reminded me of like, you know, some stuff that like I can never say their name, but like Chervez's Church, whatever their name is. It sounds very similar to them. Like it sounds like the song that for like Death Stranding and stuff like that. But listening to it again so much today, it honestly like focusing on how it reminds me of The Weeknd. This song kind of reminds this. I feel like he's going even deeper into some sounds he was trying to do on Starboy. That's kind of what it feels like. If you think of like Nothing Without You, for example, or just like those kind of like songs that have these just like or like there's another example I was thinking of, sort of like A Lonely Night, like just these very like progressing way of like the Simpson, like the bass lines and stuff like that. And oh my god, we have Film Fan in the building. Oh my goodness. Hello. Hi. Yes. So yeah. It reminds me of that a lot. Genuinely. Because like I feel like this is like in terms of like his anthems, like I feel like this is the one where he's tried to push it the farthest to an anthem, you know? In the sense of like how you listen to like the chord progressions, you listen to how the bass line comes in, and then you have sort of like those like that build up like the drums, and then like when it just like goes in with that chorus and stuff like that, it just like it feels like he's going the deepest and hugest that he has with this kind of like huge sound. And I feel like he did that like the really like well, especially like on Starboy at times. Obviously talking like After Hours, like Blinding Lights, and you know there's some other songs in there. You know, and this one definitely in a lot of ways. I mean, because you know a bunch of people next have been talking about this. There's a lot of like similarities, you know, in terms of like lyrically, you know, between this and like a song like Blinding Lights, you know, especially like, you know, Melted Lights Cover the Open Road. I hope Make It because I've been chasing another Odyssey O, you know, stuff like that, for example. And I just feel like just there is just like such an amazing example here of just how much deeper Abel is going with this project, and how just like inspiring and just like how exciting that it is, you know. And you know what I mean? Do you have any like thoughts on how it kind of compares to his other sort of, because I know you kind of mentioned like Blinding Lights, but like do you like how do you like feel like, because like one thing too I want to say, I guess to better like phrase the question is you know, I don't know if everybody would agree with me on this, but when you like think back onto the songs that we have heard, this is a very interesting first single, because like it's very different than the rest of the album that we have heard. And stuff like that. And so sorry, my mom is texting me right now. I'm so sorry. But it's very like different than the rest of like the songs we have heard so far. And so like with that like combination of like him going deeper into like his own like, you know, like lyrics or just like aesthetics, and like really like, you know, deconstructing The Weeknd by going even like deeper with this kind of sound, like, and like, do you have any thoughts on that overall? That's a terrible way of asking the question, but do you have any thoughts on that overall?
Yeah, I mean, I do definitely. I think the thing that you really do feel on this song is a sense of finality. This really does feel like the kind of song that you write where it's like, you know, we're getting close to the end of you know, my tenure as The Weeknd and things like that, and you really do kind of feel that here. And that's why I said, like, while yes, it has like a similar feel to Blinding Lights and Less Than Zero, like I said, it has this other sort of feeling to it of kind of exploring similar themes, but doing it in a much more like sort of cathartic way, and kind of you know, summing up things that he has touched upon before. And I think all of that is just really well realized within this single. So yeah, I think you really are just in all the singles he has, in all the like songs we've heard from this album so far, you really do feel that sense of finality. And I think that this is definitely one of those songs. I could see this being a little bit closer to like the end of the album in that regard. But we will have to see.
I feel like this one's going to be like in like the middle of the album.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause one thing I will say is like, you know, like a lot of, you know, other like Weeknd fans and people in EXO have been like kind of talking about this recently, but it does kind of seem like the beginning of the album is going to be like the crowd. And then like, you know, like Fade to Black, you know, Wake Me Up, you know, and then like the last one might be that cover of like In Heaven, Everything Is Fine. That's like a kind of combination of like maybe like a title track also for Hurry Up Tomorrow. And so
yeah,
I feel like this one, with like narratively where I think it may be going overall progression wise, because we are still like, you know, like one thing to get into the music video finally, I know you mainly have not seen the music video yet, but with the music video, it is really, really clear. You know, I mean, because the music video later shows that we're still like in this like purgatory setting. And I think it's brilliant, you know. But like I feel like this is going to cover, like, as I said in my reaction video, just like the process of like really, really finding like peace, you know, with like the traumas that you've gone through, you know, or just sort of like just like that it's like it's okay to like move on and like rebuild, and you know it doesn't like define you. And this song I feel like is such like a beautiful like portrait and like vignette of just like the happiness that comes from that. Of course, you know, it's also like, you know, like a love song, you know, if you look at it like quite like literally like the lyrics and stuff like that. And I also think that's like pretty great. I mean, I quite love you know, the lyrics that says like, you know, everything's faded, we barely made it, the fire's raging, but you're still beautiful. I love that line. I think that line is beautiful and it's just incredible. And so I just feel like he's just like going like deeper into these aesthetics of like the purgatory in a way, and you know what was like the like Inferno thing too, when you look at the music video, because it's a combination of the two, because there's quite literal things, like there's like the red car and stuff like that, and there's like the blue sort of setting, and like you know, and there's many similarities, and you know, like you know, like the car crashing and stuff like that in the video. And yeah, but one thing about the reason why I think it's probably going to be in the middle of the album is because I feel like that album will end with like, you know, like the Weeknd, like I'm assuming, I mean, or also because it's kind of covered. This is like the last like Weeknd album, and before we move on to like the Able stuff, as far as you know we're aware right now. In the music video, when he's like, because he's like chasing like the light at, you know, at the end, you know, and like, you know, trying to like, you know, go to like the other side, and it's like paradise and stuff like that. He ends up like dying, you know, or like just I'm assuming just dying. And these like paramedics come and get him, and like there's some like, you know, fears going on about, oh, this is like connected like to faith and stuff like that. And the Weeknd kind of has like posted things like on Twitter today that kind of like are really pushing, oh, it might be. The way that I'm looking at it, Kevin, personally, and for everybody who's watching, what I'm thinking is happening, and probably I think it's in the middle of the album, is I really feel like why that there's a comparison being made, like quite literally, especially with like Faith, is because Faith represented that song, and just like the whole situation that song covers represents like the Weeknd at like his absolute like lowest, you know, in terms of like, you know, like the over just like stimulation, and just like the horrors, and just like the sadness of like the drug use and toxic like relationships, and just like there's like this like manic kind of like setting. And I feel like there's sort of like there still needs to be a bit more closure on that kind of moment, you know, and stuff like that, because like that is like a trauma, you know, and there's many traumas that are being like, you know, addressed. Because one thing that we know from like some of the interviews that have happened for this project, and just looking at aesthetically, you know, visually, is that there is a lot of ideas and imagery going back to like the childhood, and like you know, unlocking like the inner child, and you know, like the fundamentals of like, you know, where like your life began, and why you think a certain way, or like how you view the world a certain way. And so, you know, when you look at like everything that's happened, especially with like the Weeknd as like a character, or just like this like persona or person that Abel is not, you know, thing about the art, connecting it to Faith, which was like the darkest, you know, moment, besides like Until I Bleed Out, I would say, I really feel like it makes a lot of sense in that kind of way. So I would say it's probably going to be like in like the middle of the album, I would think. So
I can see that.
Yeah. So yeah, I
now,
will.
the one thing I was going to say is that I haven't mentioned this, but when we talk about the music video, I really can't, because I have not gotten a chance to watch that yet. Oh my God, it's Janaea, one of my subscribers. Let's go. Hello. Also Marvin, I saw you there too.
Yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I'm not ignoring anybody in the chat besides Film Fan. I just want to make sure we do not ramble as much as we did in the Sao Paulo one. Admittedly, but just
probably will.
Shout outs.
Yes,
yeah,
hello.
So, thank you for watching. And then yeah, so Yeah, so
Yes. What I was gonna say was the music video I can't really comment on, so you can just go ahead and jump into that.
the music video. So I will first say before I get into more of like aesthetically or just like theme wise with the video, to comment on it briefly, the iPhone 16 Pro camera, the cinematography with it, because that is a big
The
part of this
Apple
video.
16.
Yeah, the
You're
listen,
never
Kevin. Listen. I had a bit of a moment. Okay, I kept it in the video. It's
I
what
know, but
happened, you know.
you're never letting that one down.
I will
It's
never
just
let that one down.
never not happening.
Oh gosh, I can't wait for the orange 16. Oh my goodness,
Yes,
as
same.
you said to
It's
me.
gonna be great. It's gonna be
Yeah.
great. No
Also
one's
with
ready for it.
the iPhone 16 Pro cinematography. I will say, like, it definitely has like that kind of like iPhone-y look. Like, there's a certain
N-
clarity and precision and ambiance that those lenses and like create on iPhones. And I'm a very big fan of like iPhone cameras. Like, I shoot all of my videos like on an iPhone camera. I have the iPhone 14 Pro Max currently. I don't know when to upgrade that because I got the deep purple one, and like I wish the Pro models they would do more colors than just like the grays and the silvers, and occasionally now I think there's like a gold titanium one this year, but anyways, I digress. But I'm a big fan of the cameras because I do really appreciate the character of them. But when it comes to stuff like this, I do get a bit more hesitant because there is just admittedly a certain like cinematic depth and like field of view that the iPhone just can naturally never quite get, just because of like sensor sizes and like megapixel size and just the way that the camera is just like in general like developed, but versus like like a really really like like high end like Hollywood kind of camera. But I will say, like, just watching it, like the it's just really impressive though, like especially the slow motion stuff, like shooting like that 120 for frames per second slow motion. I know like Ang Lee has done that quite a few times in his works, and I think like they've worked really really well. Like Gemini Man isn't like an amazing film in my opinion, for example, but like the use of like slow motion of that with like the 120 frames like being shot, and I think worked really well. And this, it looks so just like clean, and it definitely isn't as like super super duper like slow motion because of that super high frame rate. But I actually kind of like that more than like a traditional kind of slow motion style, because I think it looks like smoother in a way, because slow motion I've always been a little bit sort of like kind of like mixed on, but I actually like how it looks. And so overall, the iPhone, like, yes, it definitely has like the look of being shot on an iPhone camera, definitely. But like, I really like what they did with it though, and how they pushed it. And of course, like there's other equipment that's used, of course, and like color timing and stuff. Like I'm not sure exactly what they edited this on, but I thought that it looked really really good. Just to get that out of the way, because that is like a big part of the video. So to get into the video, okay, I'll answer this. Any guess when the album comes out? I am going to say for now, and I've said this to all of my friends privately, and I'll say it now. I am very selfishly hoping it's November 1st because that is my mom's birthday, and it's a Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that would be a really cool way to help celebrate my mom's birthday, because my mom is a big Weeknd fan. I saw the Weeknd live with her at Gillette when I went to that show. So selfishly, we'll make it November 1st.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that could be the earliest release date also, because of the fact
I feel like
that
that's a good possibility.
yeah, because the fact that Abel did say in a press release for the Australia shows that like the era isn't going to fully, I guess, I forget exactly where it's not going to fully like commence until like after
Yeah.
those shows. And so
Yeah.
I believe November 1st. I think that's one Friday before it, but I think hopefully November 1st, because that's like the day after Halloween, also. And I could see Abel totally doing that. So selfishly, I hope November 1st, and I'm gonna stick with that.
Fun.
I will say if not November 1st, definitely in November. Definitely in November. And I
can't see it being any later than like the middle of November.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you. I like November is one of my favorite months for art. I always like just like the feel of like November, and so that in terms of art. And so like when Starboy came out basically like on Thanksgiving 2016, that was a pretty cool day. And so I will say November 1st. So hopefully, so me and my mom have even more fun and stuff like that. And so yeah. So the video, it I obviously there's some pretty like, like intense, sort of like, like symbolism or just like, in general, just like visuals that are very reminiscent, of course, of like, like blinding lights, of like the car and stuff like that. And of course, that also is like it's stuff like, like Heartless, for example, but like that red car. And like we're still in this purgatory setting. Where we have like these like forest trees and these like lantern looking lights and stuff like that. And it's like the rain pouring. My favorite part visually about this is the rain. I think it looks so pretty. And I really like it too because it's like, you can use a basic symbolization of it, of course, is sort of like, oh, like the rain, is pouring on you, like, when it rains, like, the basic, sort of like, kind of like feel of that.
When it rains, it pours. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it's like, I don't feel like I have to get too much into that kind of idea, but what I love about it is it fits the song so well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
With like, oh, like I'm just gonna keep going, like, like the lights of like, like melted and like, like, I'm racing home and stuff like that, and like, through the rain, and I'm gonna get there no matter what. And like, Abel gets into like a car crash like at the beginning-ish or so of like the second verse. And so it's like the Woking Hill, they stand there, it gets into a car crash, and they know, like, he kind of like goes flying in the air. And so then, and after this, like, really cool sort of like break from like the song in a way for like 10 or 15 seconds of this really cool like ambiance like bassliney kind of stuff. It goes back and to grab the wheel. Want to be in control, and like, he just starts like kind of like, like running to get to this place. And I thought it was just so just like epic and grand, and like it just fit the theme of the song so well. But the interesting thing about, again, that like, I was commenting, I'll just talk about it one more time briefly. I won't get into much detail because I went into so much detail already with it. But the ending of it, like throughout, after that crash happens, you can kind of see him slowly more and more sort of like weaken. And at the end, when he's like about to go into like, the lights, so they get to like this like paradise setting and like fully like, figure out like, I guess like who he is as like an artist, or just like in general, as a person, like that like defining and fulfillment of the art, however you want to look at it. He ends up like collapsing and, supposedly, dying, and paramedics come in. So there's a lot of really interesting ideas that are going to be explored, I feel like. And this is definitely just further proof of just how well these ideas are already being captured, because these are not easy ideas to do. Like these are not, like, there's a lot of complexities here that he is covering like visually. And when mixed with like the music and trying to capture that, but also still that signature feel of like the Weeknd, even though we're trying to like deconstruct the Weeknd. It's really hard to do that, and I think he's doing like a fantastic job at elevating the music already for the videos. I will say, because I believe I read it right, I think he said on Twitter that this is like the first single. I'm assuming the next single, if there is like one more single, it's probably gonna be Wake Me Up, I assume. And so that would be interesting to see if that is the next single, what we get musically video wise for that. And I was thinking about, when I was getting ready for this, like the Trader Schultz film, like like there's really nothing else to say about it, because we went into so much depth with it in the Sao Paulo live discussion, and there's really nothing else you can really say because we just don't know. But hopefully that does come out, because I really like Trader Schultz, so I want to see how they collabed, and also I want to hear that One Tricks Point Never score with Abel. I want to hear that, but I'm very interested in seeing how.
In the credit.
What was that?
This has the credits on. Imagine that.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I am just like really interested in just if that film comes out, like how is it going to connect in terms of like the visuals of it, in terms of like visually progressing the story, because one of them is like, oh, it's like based off of like Misery and stuff like that, which it very much seems like, from what I know, that it is. But still, like it's about like really like, okay, so like how are we going to elevate like the themes of in the music, like in the film versus like a music video kind of thing, is what I'm interested in. So hopefully that comes out. And so the music video, I think, is really good. And I'm really interested in seeing just like how much more we get into these videos, because The Weeknd has always had fantastic videos. That's part of how I got so into him. Yeah, so I guess the After Hours music videos, I mean, I have some, some of the posters for Blinding Lights and Until I Bleed Out, and there, for example, but like the After Hours videos are his best videos in my opinion. And I think those videos are incredible. The Donathan videos I thought were good. But I feel like we're going a bit deeper this time around visually and like fully like really, really like pushing our like like it was pushing the stuff like
Yes.
visually. I mean, Dawn FM videos had some crazy things happen in it. Like the How to Make You Love You video is amazing, for example. But I really can already tell that like there is just like a lot more. I think just like there's I think there's just more of like a better like direction, to be honest, music video
Yeah.
wise. Just to kind of, I guess, just say it like that. And so yeah, and I know I can't really say anything back about any of that because you haven't seen the video.
I will watch it eventually. I'm notoriously, you know this, I'm notoriously very bad at watching music videos. Sometimes I do, but oftentimes I don't. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm sure it was great. That's all I can really do is
Yeah.
just agree that I'm sure it's amazing. And when I eventually, if I do get to it, I'm sure it'll be really good. So,
Yeah.
but the one thing I will say real quick is that I think it would be cool if this is one of those instances where like the movie does come out and the stuff we're seeing in the music video is like a scene from the movie, kind of like something we've seen before. Like we know one of his biggest inspirations is Michael Jackson, how Michael Jackson did like, longer like short films and things like that. And he tied those music videos into the longer short film. It'd be cool if the Weeknd kind of did something like that, where it's like you have this video and then it's like literally ends up being like a scene in the movie.
Never ever forget, and this breaks my heart every time I bring it up, but Claire Denise was supposed to do like a short film for After Hours right before the lockdown.
Yes, I do remember that.
That would have been
Watch High Life if you haven't, by the way. Fantastic.
just like thinking about like Beau Travail and like Trouble Every Day, like that would have just been like unbelievable. So that'd be cool. Do you like the Bad Martin Scorsese short film?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have to see that. I've never watched that. And so
oh yeah, it's real good. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about, where it's like not that is one of those things where it's like, yes, it's a very iconic music video, but it also is a really good short film and it tells a really interesting story. And I feel like that's something that Abel would like whenever that Trey Edward Schultz movie comes out, I feel like that's definitely something that we'll see is like how that's the thing I'm honestly most excited about at this point is like how these songs tie into the overall film whenever it comes out. So
yeah, I know.
Hopeful that it will, because he did mention recently, I think he said that like they finished like post-production.
That was Barry Keoghan who said that.
Oh, okay.
And so I believe he said the film is finished and they're just waiting on good news. So
well, in Barry we trust.
Well, let's hope so. And so yeah, I know Wake Me Up is a pretty big part of that film.
Get Amazon involved,
yeah. I know Wake Me Up's a big part of that. So I guess we'll see what happens. Because all I really know about it is just like it kind of is like a take on like a Misery kind of thing, and it deals with like religion, and like Wake Me Up is like at the beginning of it or something. That's all I really know. Yeah, because Wake Me Up, I'm assuming, is going to be a single. I mean, like he literally samples like Thriller by Michael Jackson, it seems like, in it. And I also really, really like that song. And so hello. Yes, I'll make sure I am reading the chat as we get going more and more into this. And so yeah, one thing I also want to say too, things about the production of the song. Is just to get into a little bit more, some things I noticed is like in that like bridge section that I quite love. That's like my favorite part of the song. I was listening to it so much today, I didn't even fully pick up on the fact that there's like this like really pretty like pad that's used in that section of the song it doesn't seem like it's used for any other portion of the song. And I think it just like it just sounds just so beautiful. That's really kind of you to ask. Kevin is already a moderator, and he usually takes care of that stuff for me. But thank you for asking me
Yeah.
that. And yeah, I just love just like I mean I'm a big fan of like just like pads in general. Like when I make my own music, like I really love that like the melodies and melodics that you can come up with that and like there's such like a subtlety to like the precision and preciseness that like those sounds kind of get. And I just loved how that sounded. And you know of course there's like the cool like breakdown part and stuff like that. You know, and I yeah, no, and I also like really like how the song like just the pace of it, it keeps going so much, but like there's like layering and stuff like that, and like you know different sort of like you know like details you hear at certain points, and then of course like the ending, that ambient outro with some little like vocal samples. I think it just sounds just so pretty. But again, I am a massive like ambient fan, and so I just really like that outro. I'm interested in hearing how it like transitions from like the net to like what the next song in the album will sound like. It's definitely sounded like some kind of like transition kind of thing. And so yeah, the production overall for this project has just sounded amazing. This one specifically was by Max Martin and Oscar Halter.
Yeah.
Or Halter, I believe is how I pronounce it. And so you know, amazing job to them. I mean, I'm a big fan of Max Martin. And so yeah, do you have any thoughts on any more of the production at all, Kevin?
No, I think, like I said, I really like the feel of the song. I think it does a good
Mhm.
job of kind of sticking out from the rest of the stuff that we have seen. And I think it's honestly one of his best produced songs. I think it just has like a really
Mhm.
interesting feel to it. I think this is one of those songs that like people are going to associate with the weekend for a while. I can definitely see that happening. The way it's already resonating with people, I think, you know, so early on. I mean, where is
Mhm.
this song going to be in like a couple years? You know, like I really do think this is going to be like the next Blinding Lights for him, and I think we're already seeing that.
Yeah, I would say this is screaming as somebody with some pretty close friends that are in very much into wrestling. This is definitely going to be a WrestleMania theme at some point. This will
Yeah, I can
definitely
see
be.
that.
Yeah, I'm sure places like Forever 21 are gonna love this song too. You know, and like and honestly, like I think that like you know it you know there's just so much about this song that is just so like versatile. You know, just
Yeah.
like the themes of it and just like the feeling it gives you, you know, but also
I
just like
feel
the
like
production of it. Like it really is
yeah.
indescribable, you know, as he says. So yeah.
Hey, it's not make this crowd a home, which is what I thought it was forever.
I was I how did you hear that? Because I
It when you hear something live versus when you hear the
that's a good
actual
point.
like
Yeah, no, I'm not talking video. I was listening to it earlier after we were on FaceTime and you talked about that, and I was like, oh, let me try to hear that. And I listened to it, I was like, I don't hear that. No.
yeah, I think now that we know what the lyric is, it's like I can't hear it that way
Yeah.
anymore.
No,
But the one thing I was
yeah.
gonna say is that I feel like this song, because I hear a lot of people complain about this who aren't Weekend fans, that oh, he just kind of does the same thing over and over again. He has the same kind of template. He sings the same kind of songs. This is the antidote to that. Like this is very much the antidote, where it's like this is distinctly different from what you usually hear from him, and I feel like is proof that like he does do different styles, because this is very different from what we've heard before.
Yeah. You know, I agree. I feel like the deep cuts on Dawn FM, I think especially show just how versatile he can be with this kind of like, you know, sound of
Yeah.
like the synth stuff and like the ambiance of it and like the
Hmm.
soundscapes of it. And just like the chords that can come in. Also the chord work on this is
Oh,
so
so
good.
good.
So good. It just like keeps like driving the song just so much.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah. I did do a reaction to the Sao Paulo
Yes.
concert last week. If you're asking about that, thank you for your interest in that.
Yeah.
And
It's
yeah,
very, and we also did it like we also did like an almost 2 hour stream of it as well. So
yeah, no, that was a fun time. Yeah,
it
no,
was.
yeah, I'm still, I got so overwhelmed. I was expecting so many people to watch that, but it was
Yeah, I was
awesome.
gonna say it kind of escalated into more of a Q and A, but
Yeah.
it was
Well,
fun.
no, which is totally cool, which is totally
Yeah.
cool. You know, and so you know, and next time if we have that many viewers again, yeah, we're better prepared, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to say? You know, I was assuming we were only going to go for like
Yeah.
30 minutes anyways, or like 40 minutes. Do you have anything else that you
Um,
want to say?
I think I'm just really excited to see like what else comes of this album. Like, are we gonna get more singles? What's the next single going to be? What
Hmm.
becomes of this song? Like I said, I think this is going to have a very similar impact to Blinding Lights, where like it's gonna go from a song that we are constantly hyping up and saying like this is one of the best songs he's done, and it ends up going on to become one of his like most notable songs. And I think the fact that he did this with Apple and just the reception from you know, from the concert and things like that, I think it's just you know, an example of just the impact that this song is going to have. And I'm just really excited to see what else we end up getting from this album, you know, before it comes out and things like that, because I think it's going to be a really good rollout.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally 100% agree with you. And yeah, no. So before I go, just because I went into like a
Yeah.
lot of depth about it in my reaction video, so I don't want to
Yeah.
like repeat too much. Is there anything else specifically about like lyrically, like any lyrics that specifically like stand out to you, or just anything?
Let me. I would have to pull it up real quick. I'm not the I'm not the genius. I'm not the, you know,
Yeah.
lyricist like you, where you can just pick up on things immediately. But I would have to look through the song for a second.
I mean,
Let's see.
I am not any smarter just because I like can like have my own perspective like quicker than you know, like you know what I mean, like
I'm not
everybody's.
as analytical when it comes to the deeper
Yeah,
meanings in the
there's
lyrics.
nothing wrong with that though, you know. So
So I do really like the line of I do really like the line of "We're dodging headlights." You say "Hold tight." I
yeah, that's a
like
good one.
the
Yeah,
fire's raging, but you're still beautiful.
I love that line.
And again, I think again what I enjoy about this in general is I just like that I can listen to a song that I really like in a concert that I haven't heard before, and I can already pull up the lyrics to it and not struggle to be like, I don't actually know what he's saying, but I
Mhm,
really like the melody. I actually know like the lyrics and shit. So I think that's also
mhm,
really cool. But yeah, there's some I like crash when we're switching lanes. That's a nice
yeah,
lyric.
yeah.
Um, I like that. Like I said, I like that I know it's indescribable and not make this crowd a home, because that makes a lot more sense with the song. Um,
We do have a song about crowds on this project, but you know we
we
have to
do,
wait a little bit
we
for
do.
that. So yeah,
Crowd.
so cool. Yeah. I guess I'll wrap it up here then.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, Kevin. I really
Yes, of
appreciate
course.
it.
This is fun.
Yeah, so anybody who watched this, thank you. You know, I figured we would just do some more live stream stuff. I really love doing live streams. When I was a
Me
lot
too.
younger, I used to do a lot of live streams.
We did, yeah. Yeah. The
And
Google Hangout days.
oh my god, I missed that. So remember the stream of Awesome?
Oh my god.
I think
The
about that
all the
sometimes.
filters, all the, you know, like
Yeah,
stickers and shit. Oh, those are the
yeah.
days.
And so I figured I would do some more and stuff
Sound
like that.
effects.
I forgot about the sound effects. Yes, yes.
I didn't.
And so yeah, so I figured we should just do some more because I want to do more weekend stuff with Kevin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so so I guess that is all I have for
Bunch of
right
name
now.
remembers.
That's very cool. And so yeah, so with that said, thank everyone who watched this. Yeah, no. Do you have any final words you want to say at all, Kevin?
Again, just thank you for having me. Of course, this was a lot of fun. Like I said, I hopefully eventually I watch the music video. But all around, I really enjoy this song. I really am looking forward to just seeing more of what this album really does bring to the table. And it's just, again, like I said, it's almost like a teaser trailer where it just gets you that much more hyped. I think now that's like, okay, we're really getting into it. Like, I already was excited just knowing that there was another Weeknd album on the horizon, but like you get to the concert, you get to this, it's like, okay, it's really becoming a reality, and now we can really start like getting hyped for it. And I feel like this was like the perfect way to really kick that off. So yeah, just like I said, I think this is going to be a really exciting lead up to the album overall.
I agree. So yeah, so thank y'all for watching, and I will be back with some more Weeknd videos, hopefully, sooner than later.
Yes.
But I also
Whenever
will
his next single
finally,
comes out.
yeah, I will finally though also be having other videos come out soon that I've been wanting to do for a long time now.
All right.
So thank y'all all for watching, and I will see all of y'all whenever the next time is. Alrighty, thank y'all for watching. Bye.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys.